friends, and thank you for tuning into the Optimal Health Program today. Hope you're all doing well. Today we have some interesting stuff for you. We'll talk about how to eat, whether you should have large meals 3 times a day or smaller meals or intermittent fasting. What's the best eating plan for you? And of course, we create that for you based upon what your blood test shows. How much protein do you need to build muscle? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about how cocoa extract supplements help to decrease age-related heart disease by lowering C-reactive protein. Very cool. Very interesting little tidbit here. And we're also going to highlight a company that I just found. One of my patients had told me that on Northern Boulevard, I think it's Brookville, there's a company that is a farm. It's called Moolah Farm, M-O-O-L-A Farm. And I met Christina and Sal, the owners, and they have a wonderful bunch of products. We can start off with this. It's a small, local, all-organic farm run by Christina and Sal on the North Shore of Long Island. They're out in Huntington on Sundays. They're in Garden City on Saturdays. And they have a ton of food on their menu. And their website is at Moolah Farm. Actually, their Instagram is at Moolah Farm, M-O-O-L-A Farm. And moolahfarm.org, I guess, is their website. But their animals are pasture-raised. The meats are grass-fed. They only use grass-fed butter and pasture-raised eggs in everything they make. They even get the water from baking from the Catskills. They have a big farm upstate. You can visit their farm stand in Muttontown or catch them at Long Beach Farmers Market on Wednesdays, Eisenhower Park on Saturdays, and Huntington on Sundays. So follow them at Instagram at Moolah Farm. So I went over there. I bought some milk, which I've never had milk that tasted that good in my whole life. No, I've never liked skim milk or 2% or whatever this crappy combination of whatever they do to the milk, because it doesn't taste good. It tastes like water, like milk-colored water. But having some of the milk they have here, it's just unbelievable. You just want to keep drinking it. It's delicious. It's got that sort of creamy flavor. They have all sorts of beef, ground beef, hamburgers, strip steak, sirloin, skirt, London broil, etc., T-bone, porterhouse, chicken, whole chicken, chicken breast, ground chicken, thighs, drumsticks, amazing eggs that are as orange as you can imagine that color can be, bone broth, beef tallow, oven-ready meatballs, pork, sausages and such, chorizo, pork shoulder, ham steaks, ground pork. The list goes on and on. Organic artisanal bread, sourdough, which is amazing, by the way.
And I just want to say, be careful when you go on this website because you will immediately be hungry when you see these photos.
Just right off the bat. We'll show the website. We should show it now so people can take a look. Pasture-raised eggs, A2 milk, cream, butter, maple syrup. They have their own bees, mixed berry jam, honey butter, Greek yogurt, which is terrific. I had that. I put some of the Greek yogurt with the honey from their bees. Organic bread loaves, organic pies. The list goes on and on. It's the first place I've seen in a very, very long time that has everything that I think that would be good and healthy for you. So look them up on Instagram at Moolah Farm, moolahfarm.org. Certainly you could message them through Instagram and stuff. Very, very nice people. So I went there the other day, I guess a week or so after I bought some stuff there. And they have a nice little shack where they have a fridge and a freezer and products in there, and the prices are there, and you take your products. I just took a picture of it and then counted up the money, put the money in a Dropbox, and you could Venmo, do all these other things that I don't know how to do. But it was terrific food. That I went back and I asked Sal for these little cards that have a list of everything on it, both sides. I have these up in the office now, and we're giving out a ton of these to the patients, and sat with him, and his kids were there. And I walked over they built a new chicken coop for chickens that are down here, big, beautiful chicken coop. They have goats, which are the friendliest goats I've ever seen, and sheep. So I walked up to the goat pen, and these 3 goats come walking over. There was a bunch of them. And they're looking at me like I had like 3 heads or something, like, oh, who's this? A new guy in the property. So I bring my hand over, I'm petting the goats, and a couple of them put their feet up on the wooden slats of the fence, and I'm playing with the goat, scratching them and stuff. I'm like, wow, really friendly animals. So it's really cool. So I think this is a great thing.
Wow.
So if you are interested, and you should be, why not, have the organic and the healthiest foods you can, then I would certainly contact them. And these are just great pictures of
Look at these cows.
of the farm.
Oh.
Yeah. It's great. Why not? Why buy stuff that's got chemicals and preservatives in it? You know, and you want to support a local farm. You want to support people that are doing a really good thing. So I'm all in for this, and I think they're really, really nice people. Sal and Christina. But check it out. Look there, give them a call, send them a message, find out about it. I think you'd love it. Linda, one of my patients who I've known for 39 years, because her nephew is a really good friend of mine, told me about it. I said, wow, how did I not know about this? So they haven't really exploded on the scene yet, but they're all over the place. Long Beach, you know, Garden City, Huntington. I don't want to be able to see all the different things that they have, but, you know, I'm all in on it. I think it's great.
Yeah, we already got someone in the comments just talking about milk in general, getting them from a farm, the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll add the eggs, too.
It's a different world, you know, really healthy, pure, fresh milk, and the eggs that are organic eggs, they're not like cardboard, because regular eggs you might get from a store, you know, they don't really taste that good. And every time I've gone to Europe or South America, the eggs are just phenomenal. Creamier, much better. And over there in Europe, they're really, really bright orange, and they're delicious. You know, you want to have more of them. But here, you know, all the chemical stuff is just doesn't taste good. So, very important to check it out.
Someone said that they want to recommend a documentary that they watched about how where the milk comes from, you know, in a wholesale environment.
Well, the processing, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some clips.
You got to have a little bit of a strong stomach to watch some of the videos on how they deal with the cows, and they either shock them or hit them on the head with some sort of thing to kill them, and they cut them up and blah, 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 and all the chemicals that are put into it here, you know. You may not want to watch that, but for some people that have a strong stomach, you could watch those videos and see exactly what goes on. I'm always, always, always for organic, you know, ethical and humane treatment. But, you know, once you have something that tastes so good, you'll never go back to the other. I said I will never go back to drinking any other milk than this kind of milk. It's delicious and healthy, you know, so.
I'm learning that, you know, that side of Long Island, it's like all farms.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's farm to table. It's like.
Absolutely. That's what originally existed on Long Island for hundreds of years. And I used to have a patient who was a historian, and I probably mentioned this before. When storms would come, people that lived all over Long Island, and Native Americans as well, they'd go out and just in the middle of the storm, just grab fish and stuff, you know, right off the beach, because a lot of stuff would be thrown up on the beach. And it was all farms, you know. I had a patient, lovely woman, Mrs. Terlikowski, and her family were the Frolicks and Terlikowskis, and they had massive farms all over the area, Frolic Farm Boulevard. There's a lot of farms over there. So very, very big farming family. And I love the idea of having the farm and, you know, being able to have your own food, a gigantic garden, and have the animals and get all this great food. You know, why not? The only thing I'd really want is like a river to go through this property so I can catch fish or have a pond and get the fish in the pond or put some fish in the pond and do all that.
That's the life right
Brings
there.
you back 100 some odd years. I think that would be great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, check them out. They're good.
Someone just said, have you heard about the connection with the Long Island duck and Asian breeding? It came from the Peking duck. I only recently found this out.
That I haven't heard about yet. It reminds me of a joke, but I don't think this is the Long Island duck joke. No. Be curious to see what they're talking about. Or breeding the ducks with the, what, Peking duck?
I'm Googling it. Okay, interesting. In the 19th century, the Peking duck, I always mess it up. It's Peking, not Peking. Peking duck breed, which was imported from China in the 19th century and became the foundation of Long Island's duck farming industry. You know, that's very interesting. And apparently,
Curious.
Long Island has the perfect, you know, climate for them
Yeah.
to thrive. Good. Thank you. Listen, we're learning. We're trying to teach you. You're teaching us. We love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love tidbits of information. I love trivia. It's just all good information. Now I can tell someone else. Did you know that Peking ducks were brought over to Long Island in the 19th century? People will say, I didn't know that. Who would know that? But that's great. Good info. Okay, so for people that are trying to figure out how to eat, what to eat, how often to eat, etc., we always talk about this within my patients. This is an interesting study. Talks about, is it better to eat several small meals or a few larger meals? So remember that in years past, recommendations and ideas were made, food pyramid, blah, 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 that have turned out to be not such a great idea. Primarily because having too much carbohydrate is not good for your body because it gives you too much sugar, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, etc. Grains can irritate your gut, and a lot of people I see today, grains irritate their gut. And it could be an allergy to the grain, it could be a chemical reaction to chemicals in the food, or the GMO nature of the food. And there's a video that I looked at before about corn and the modified corn causing other animals that would eat the corn to have major stomach issues, so they never go back to eat that corn in the field again. But that's going to create stomach issues for humans as well. It's insane. It's like Frankensteinizing the corn, so
What is wrong with
people got to think of growing your own food, having your own patch of land if you can, or just going to a farm and getting all your stuff, this way. Because you put bad stuff in your body, you get a bad reaction. So the idea is that we've been told to eat 3 big meals a day, pyramid, blah, blah, blah. It's not a good idea. I think it's easier on your digestive ability because you don't have endless digestive enzymes to go on for gigantic meals. If you have small amounts of food throughout the course of the day and you're grazing, a little something for breakfast, a couple of hours later, a little something, put good foods in there. You could have cashew milk yogurt with some berries in it and a protein powder in it that's a plant protein. That I do, it's great. So you're getting a little bit of carb, 1 gram of carb, but you're getting protein, vitamins, the yogurt. It's good for you. You could also take almond milk or cashew milk, put a scoop of chia seeds or 2 in there, mix it up, also put the protein powder in it, let it sit in the fridge, and it looks like oatmeal. So you could have that for a snack, and it's just all good. I mean, there's no carb, and it's all good, healthy, organic stuff. And chia seeds have a lot of nutrients in them. So there are ways to eat and put great things in that are not going to be negative for your body. There are some people who do really well with higher protein, and they minimize the carbs and lots of vegetables. There's some people that like to do intermittent fasting, and they get a good result with that. I would tell people, I wouldn't necessarily only do one type of diet like intermittent fasting only for months and months and months and months. You want to do it for a couple of months and then go back to just another good low carb where you're having a couple of meals throughout the day, small meals, you're grazing, then go back to the intermittent fasting. And your body, as you keep changing back and forth, adapts better to it. This is something that we've seen. So with intermittent fasting, people don't have anything for breakfast. Sometimes they'll have tea, or a cup of coffee. And they may only eat between 2 and 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon. And they can do well with that, burning sugar, burning fat, losing weight. So, yeah, if that works for you, and if we could make sure your vitamin levels are perfect, then great, that can work. But it may be the best idea to go back and forth between different types of meals.
Real quick, just a question on, are smaller meals better for people with diabetes or insulin resistance?
So smaller meals are always better. And the one thing I was going to get to with the digestive enzymes is it's easier to take a little bit of food. Your digestive enzymes are there. You break down your food, no difficulty, and it works great. If it's low carb and you're doing that, that's great for diabetics because you're giving yourself nutrients. You're giving yourself vitamins, of course, and you're getting good proteins in. You're getting good vegetables in for fiber, minerals from other good foods, but smaller meals and grazing is a lot better than the big meal, big meal, big meal. That's not good because typically it's too many calories and too much carbohydrate with the big meals.
Someone said I'm too dark. I'm dark. I'll bring me up a little bit. Don't worry, my brightness. But another one is there for losing weight. Does meal timing matter as much as total calories? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so everybody's different. And the best way for me to comment on that is to know what would work best for you, we kind of need to know a little bit about how your body works. So there are tons of different diets to try, but if your thyroid, DHEA, testosterone levels are low, your vitamins are low, your carbs are too high, you're not doing exercise, you're not going to lose weight. So if we know that your vitamins, minerals, and hormones are good, all right, you're in a great place to allow whatever diet to work. Overwhelmingly, in 39 years, I've been recommending low-carb diets because it allows your body to burn the fat as a primary fuel, triglycerides, cholesterol. So if you do the exercise in a low-carb diet and all your nutrients and hormones are good, you'll get a better ability to burn the fat down because the carbs are not in the way. But if you eat too much carb, you have to burn that first, and a lot of times that makes it difficult to get to the fat to burn it, unless you're doing marathon running, which I don't recommend people typically do. You could ride your bike a lot. You could do lots of things. It's just too much running is going to be bad for your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your low back. So I like to do low carb. That works the best for my patients, making sure that they're pre-corrected to be able to get the result because their vitamins, minerals, and hormones are good, and exercise are on board. And it's funny, too, because people will try this diet, that diet, and they may be close to getting the result. They just need to drop the carbs a little bit more, or they need to do a little bit more exercise. So a lot of them are trying, but they're frustrated because they're not getting the result they want. But if you drop the carbs, raise the exercise, you get the result. So it has to be sort of a personalized way to get your best result. You know, someone that's got low thyroid, they don't know it, or low testosterone, DHEA, or IGF-1, you know, the active component of growth hormone, you could work out like a dog and not get the result. So that's why all these things have to be kind of put together in the right place.
Got this question on how long before bedtime should you be eating?
I don't think people should be eating late because that sets the stage for difficulty with sleep. Some people who have carbs late because they want to have a cookie or a snack or something, they'll eat it, blood sugar starts to go up, they dump insulin, blood sugar drops, they wake up in the middle of the night and they have nightmares and they're anxious and panicky from low blood sugar. So I don't think that that's a good idea. For some people that always want to have a little something before they go to bed, I tell them have a half of a protein shake that's zero carb. It's got protein in it, you know, maybe a little bit of fat in it. So it's good for you, but you're not going to drop your sugar. Typically, I think dinner is best somewhere between 6 or 7 o'clock, maybe 8 o'clock, but light, not heavy stuff and not carb, because you're asking for problems if you have too much carb, you know, before you go to bed.
We got this one. Someone just wants to know, they said that they've heard for a long time that people who eat less frequently might live longer because of lower oxidative stress. What are your thoughts on that? That's been known
for a while, where people that do some fasting and people that eat smaller meals, they're not putting all that wear and tear on their body. And when you have a big meal, it's not easy on your body. In part because all this food is sitting there and you're trying to break it down. Your digestive enzymes may be limited, especially as you get older. If you're not doing the exercise and a lot of this stuff starts to come into your bloodstream, if there's too much carbohydrate, you're raising triglycerides, raising cholesterol, potentially creating more of an inflammatory effect. If there's chemicals in the food, GMO, yeah, you'll see the inflammatory mechanism occur. So just randomly eating big meals is a bad idea. If we were to know, for example, for a lot of people that I see, probably 75% of people I see react to a food, whether it's an allergy to the food, a GMO food reaction, or a chemical in the food, because they've gone to other countries and have had that food and have no problem. You'd want to know what foods to avoid to stop the inflammatory effect. So, you know, you want to take that into consideration as well.
All right, we're up to date.
Unfortunately, here, we kind of just tend to eat what we like the taste of, whether it's good or bad for us, and then we end up with the whole inflammatory cascade, high C-reactive protein, you know, low vitamins, and the whole problem occurs. That's the Western diet. You should be eating really good, pure sources of foods that are not processed, that are healthy, that don't have any chemicals in it. That makes the most sense.
And someone's saying, I wonder what the health classes are teaching in high school right now.
Oh, gosh.
I'd be very curious to know.
I think they're teaching the same thing they were teaching years ago.
You think they're still on the food pyramid? Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, because things that were created years ago are still being followed, and we can talk about the injectables with lots and lots of research saying, hey, that's not a good idea, or hey, why are these statistics so bad for certain reactions? And they're always looking for something else. Oh, it's a genetic. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So the things that have been recommended for many years sometimes are still carried through because there's an interest to keep forcing people to do these things, or making you want to eat certain things and not eat other things. Eggs have been vilified for years because they have some cholesterol in the yolk. Oh, no, you can eat eggs. You can have as many eggs as you want. I have patients in my practice that eat eggs all the time and have no issues. I have patients that are athletes that work out a lot and they love eggs. I'll have 10 eggs and no problem. It's just it's not true. There are people who can have, really good grass-fed meat, red meat, and do really well and have no problems with it. I think if you're having red meat that's super chemicalized and ultra-processed, yeah, then the chemicals in red meat would be bad for you. We know that nitrates and things that have been in bacon, forever are bad, but you have to have the foods without the chemicals, and you can do very well. Got to get back to that old farm way of eating things. And once again, let's go back to the Amish. Who's smarter than the Amish? Tell me. Right? No infertility. They have 8 to 10 kids every time you turn around. I mean, they don't have any of the medical problems that everybody else has. They don't do the injectables. There's zero autism in the Amish. No autoimmune issues. I mean, the people are thriving. And those people can whip up a building in like no time. One of the things that I saw which blew me away, and I don't know if it's a sign of the times for populations that have changed, since back in the day when everybody was a really super hard worker. I think in the South where they had hurricane damage, was in Carolinas or somewhere?
Probably. Yeah.
A few months back.
Oh, yes.
The
North
Amish
Carolina
decided to go down and help the people build houses, not mansions, but houses so people and their families could, thrive. No major equipment, no massive machines. These people put houses together in no time. And I'm watching this going, wow, these people are unbelievable.
I did not see that.
Oh, you got to look at it. You can look it up online and look at how they do it. It's a barn raising. So if you have 50 Amish people, and some of them are cutting, some of them are doing this and that, some of them are making dowels, whatever they're doing, it's like they swarm onto an area, and in no time, they have these buildings up.
Okay, I have the stats here.
It's staggering.
The members of the Pennsylvania Amish community built 12 tiny homes in Boone, North Carolina in the late 2024 to assist those displaced by Hurricane Helene. The project, which was completed in under 48 hours.
Well, under 48 hours. That's even more spectacular.
And this is the craziest. Involved over 60 volunteers and cost $300,000.
60 people going crazy, 48 hours. They have how many houses?
12.
What if you let these people run wild and they can make 100 houses in 2 days or 3 days? Whatever it is.
Wow.
I mean, how does that happen in any other realm of life? Of course, it's amazing for them to go help out. But 48 hours,
The chat is great right now.
It's unfreaking believable. These people have all my respect beyond what you can imagine. I can see how, skyscrapers are built by these massive companies with massive machines and massive whatever.
Cranes.
But let me tell you, 48 hours for them to build homes for these people whose homes were wiped out is way more impressive to me. 60 people, get down there, and I don't even know what kind of equipment they used. Were they using hand saws or like the double-handed saw? I mean, they weren't using gigantic equipment.
Dude, these are nice houses, guys. They're nice houses. They're not just like, oh, man.
I got to go to the Amish country. We got to take a road trip there. Maybe do a podcast from there.
I mean,
That would be
people
really good.
are questioning, the smell might not be so great.
What smell?
I guess they're saying without the deodorants and all the poisons.
Well, let me tell you, they're probably using natural things, and they probably
smell great.
healthier. And I mean,
no toxins leaving.
look
their
at Native
bodies.
Americans. I'm sure the Amish are using natural things. There are stones that people use, crystals, and they have no body odor because they use a crystal, rub it on their underarms and stuff. And there are herbs and other things that people have used. And, there's essential oils that people use. I mean, look, I really want to find out as much about these people as possible because it completely amazes me. And I think we should go there at some point, do like a field trip and do like a podcast.
That would be amazing.
But they don't have much electric, do they?
That's okay. I got batteries.
Yeah, we should do that. I would love to do that. I'm curious to no end about that.
That is, I'm blown away. Craziness.
Any other comments?
Someone just said, do they charge their crystals? If you heard
Yeah,
that.
I have no idea. All I remember is that movie with Harrison Ford. He beats up the bad guys, but it was a good movie. I forget the name of it.
People are just blown away. They can't believe this.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Well, you could look back at civilizations, the aqueducts, that the Romans or the Etruscans built, all the way down, bringing water from the mountains, into Italy and Rome. It's just, they built these things thousands of years ago, and they're still there, and they had so much understanding and no tools. They just did things that were genius. Have we become a dumber society individually? Probably. A lot of stuff that really doesn't make sense or doesn't really matter that much, but look at these people. Architecture and such. It's incredible.
Someone just said, and they have no AI, so no excuses.
Absolutely.
This is nuts.
So how much protein do you need to build muscle? It's an interesting comment. Anybody who works out, they want to have good muscle response and strength. And there's been continuous research on this over many years. One basic comment is that, you need all your different amino acids. You need to have more protein intake than the protein that's been stressed by your exercise so that you have more capacity to repair or grow. And it really does depend upon your absorption, your digestion, your age, your size, your weight, many things. But here the comment is about 8 grams per kilogram of body weight, which is on the short end. I know a lot of people that are athletes, have a lot of patients that are athletes, patients that are bodybuilders, and they go crazy. But I think what you should do is map out how much protein you have per day. Eggs or chicken, turkey, fish, pork, protein shakes, etc., bars, whatever you like. And then hit that number and see how well you do. And then bring it up a little bit and keep bringing it up. And if you see better results with, 1 or 1.5 grams or 2 grams per kilogram, then just keep your levels up to sustain your activity. Everybody's going to be different. There's no standard that everybody has to fit into. So it's all done based upon looking to see how your body does with a certain number and raise it or lower it accordingly. That's what we do. It's just tailored to your body. And then, of course, you have to do the right exercise. If you go into a gym and you're moving the weight super fast, you're not going to get result. It's got to be super slow where you bring the weight up slowly, hold it for a few seconds, and then back down. You want to have as much blood flow, recruitment to create that muscle to be pumped to get the result. So it's got to be a really specific, slow motion activity.
Someone just asked about carbs. Do carbs really deserve the bad rep they've gotten, or do we just need the right kinds?
So there's 2 answers to that. Carbs have gotten a bad rep because so many books are written about a low-carb diet, so everybody thinks they're all bad. I mean, most people have too much carb, and it gets them in trouble. I'm not saying you can never have carb. I'm just saying drop them out to 30 grams or below per day. Watch your body do well, burn sugar, burn cholesterol, burn fat, burn triglycerides, get to where you want to be, and let's go to 40 grams a day or 50 grams a day and see where your maintenance range is. So 30 or below will burn the sugars and fats and such, bring the weight down. If you need to do that for a couple of months, some people do it, and then on Sunday they'll have a little cheat, they'll have a little pasta or a little bread, and they go back to it. You can go back and forth. But for a lot of people, it's below 30 to create their result, and then go to 40 or 50, sometimes 60, and stay there. And that might be a good maintenance for you, depending on how much exercise you're doing. If you're running marathons or doing bike marathons, you're going to need way more carb. You're going to need over 100 grams a day, but that's because of the extreme amount of activity or exercise. If you're younger and your hormones are great, you might be able to have more. If you're older and your hormones aren't great, even if we're working on them, I would just keep them tighter. But it's specific to each person's, metabolic function.
Another one. In general, what's better? Complex carbs like oats and quinoa, or cutting them out altogether?
But what? For what? For what result? For weight loss, or it would have to be, a little bit more information. But there's some people.
They'll respond, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some people that have quinoa and have no problem with it. Some people are allergic to wheat. I know a lot of patients that go to Europe and they have bread and pasta over there and have no problem because it's pure grain. There's nothing else in it, no GMO. The people that have pizza or pasta or grain here and get bloated, you shouldn't have it. I'm not saying you shouldn't have any. But just as I say, and of course, my recommendation is always come and get your blood test done, and then we'll map everything out and put it together for you. But start cutting the carbs back, get to 30 grams or below, and see how well your body does. Maybe eat a little bit more throughout the day, small meals, do some grazing, because you might be hungry when you drop the carbs out, because your body's still going to make some of the insulin it was making when you were having the carbs. And as that changes, watch to see how well you do. And you could vary that carb. If you want to stop losing the weight, then bring the carb up a little bit.
Yeah, their response was, I wouldn't mind losing a couple lbs.
So, yeah, I would just cut the carbs out, be 30 grams or below. But then remember, 30 grams could be a bagel. You don't want to have the bagel. Cereal, bananas are high in sugar and oranges. So sugar and carb, just get all of that out. As I mentioned before, get cashew milk yogurt at Whole Foods. Get some chia seeds, get that Orgain protein powder. It's less expensive at BJ's than anywhere else. You get a bigger canister for less money than a small canister at big place, famous place. Use that for your breakfast. There's a gram of carb in it. Put some berries in it. Still 1 gram of carb. It's nothing. If you want to have a wrap, you can get an almond or a cashew wrap. No carb, no grain, no bread. Put some chicken or protein in it, cheese, heat it up. It's low carb.
And real quick, this person said that every time he does low carb or keto, he seems to not have enough energy. What would be the best
So
range?
don't go that low. I'm not sure if you're counting how many grams of carb you're having. Maybe you're having 20 or less. That might be too low. So I would probably have some of the more low carb, liquid types. So you're getting some carb, but you're not letting, bread or pasta or rice sit in your gut all day, putting sugar in there, which would be an issue. Some people like protein shakes that have 5 or 10 grams of carb. If you start with those, with your diet staying static, the same, see if that gives you some of the energy back. But it also could be from, low B12, low vitamins, because B12 is important for energy. That's why it's a little bit easier for me to look at your blood and figure it out to get you on track. But you can't go zero carb. You would typically burn up whatever carb you have stored as glycogen in your liver. But once that's gone, you do need some carb. That's why we say 30 grams or below. You got to count and see how much you're bringing in.
Yeah. We got this comment just said, I used to eat mostly carbs all day, bagel in the morning, pasta at lunch, then hard crash around 3 p.m. A friend of mine told me to try adding more protein, so I swapped the bagel for eggs, started adding chicken or beans to lunch. Within a week, I wasn't falling asleep at my desk anymore.
You'd be surprised, yeah.
So they're just asking, is that just from balancing carbs and protein better, or is it something about how protein slows digestion or affects blood sugar?
It's really a fact that when you eat too much carb, your blood sugar goes up very high, your body gets scared and makes extra insulin, which makes your blood sugar crash. For some people that make so much insulin, an hour after they eat, their blood sugar's low. Some people it's 2, 3, 4 hours after they eat. You can track that with the glucose tolerance test. Sometimes you put those glucose monitors on your arm, and for 2 weeks we can track and see what every moment your blood sugar, is doing. So there are ways to evaluate that. But the excess carb like that for breakfast and lunch, you're just saying, hey, give me insulin every time you eat a big carb, and you'll get the insulin, but then you'll crash. You don't release a lot of insulin from protein or fat. So if you have eggs for breakfast and you have proteins and vegetables for lunch, you're not asking for insulin, you'll never crash. Wow. For those people who want to bring some carb back in, have it right before you exercise so that the carb that you eat or drink is going to be used up by your muscles, which will help your muscles because carbs are good for muscle strength and size. But it's not going to get you to release the insulin. You won't release the insulin if the muscles are using the carb. Cool little tricks. A lot of little tricks.
We have this is a follow-up from our Monday show. Hello, doctor. Did you remember to find anyone who can do the stem cell nasal drip on the West Coast?
I'm looking. I haven't found anybody yet. So we'll just keep looking. Most doctors do IV or do joints. Some orthos do joints, but they don't do anything else. So it's kind of hard to find for people that have been trained to do all of these different areas. But I'll continue to look for you.
There we go. All right, hold on. I had a few more. Where we go?
The other comment I want to make is that as people get into their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and your body's been a little bit out of whack for a while, you feel tired, you feel achy, you don't have the same ability to do the exercise you used to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If your hormones are trickling down, you're losing signaling to your organs and your cells to keep doing a good job. As the new cell division in your organs decreases a lot as you get older, you're not making the same cells, every second, et cetera, and therefore you have lesser cells or less cells in your organs. You make less neurotransmitters and less hormones. So all of this keeps dropping down. If you're having too much carb or your diet's not good and blah, 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 it happens to a lot of people. And probably 60, 70% of people I see are in this confused state. Once we see what your body's doing and walk you back to where you were 10 or 15 years ago with great hormone levels, thyroid, DHEA, testosterone, IGF-1, mood, memory, focus, concentration, alertness. NAD is great for alertness and desire to get up and go and do activity. Once we put those back on board, your body's functioning like it did 10 or 15 years ago. If then you want to do the exercise because you have some energy for it and you keep the carbs down, your body starts to burn sugar, burn fat, strengthen muscle. You're getting all of these benefits because you've changed every single cause of why you're not feeling good. If we perfect your vitamin levels, blood tests, make recommendations, you get your vitamin pack, and then a month after you start your vitamins, I recheck the ones that were low, and now they're great. Everything is corrected in its perfect place. So that's a major part of what I do, literally for everybody. Nobody knows what vitamins to take or how low or high or whatever their blood work's going to show. But putting that all together at the same time, people feel like $1,000,000. I have a patient who's a friend, a really nice guy. John came into the Plainview office years ago. Very busy guy, running all over the place, always entertaining, going out to dinner and stuff, and it's just his business. So sat down, went over everything, did his blood work. We had to fix testosterone, DHEA, IGF-1, NAD, started having the energy and the focus, felt really good. Exercise, and all of a sudden, he just ran with it. He lost 50 pounds. Blood pressure came down, got him off meds. His sugar was going up. He didn't need to take meds for that. Cholesterol dropped. He's a different person. And the funny thing is, he doesn't live too far from where I live or where my office is and where his office is, so we're kind of close. But it was almost like everywhere I go, to this day, I see him at the restaurant I choose to go to for dinner. If I go to Opus, and we've been there, he's there. I'm like, what are you doing here? I said, are you following me or am I following you? Then it would be Lamani. Any of the restaurants around, it was like crazy. We'd just see each other all over the place because we all like the same good food. So, but your body, once you give it what it needs and you stay within the right guidelines, your body will do a million times better. This is for, a lot of people, this is why we've been doing this for a while, where you could be far away from my office. You could do a telehealth visit. We'll go over all your specifics. You can send us a physical exam done by your primary doctor. We'll send you a prescription to get blood work done. We'll get our blood work done. I'll review it with you. Then we'll put together your vitamin recommendations, and you have your vitamin pack. You can never get a better recommendation than based on your blood test and your medical concerns or condition. And a month later, we recheck the levels that are low to prove you're in perfect range. So we're doing that for tons of people that can't get to the office physically as well.
And funny enough, the other question was, or not question, but comment was just, I wish you lived near me. You're the best.
Well, I don't have to be near you.
We're always thinking.
Yeah, we can still help you out. It's funny, I've had people on the phone come from other states, and some southern states, I have to ask them, excuse me? Because I may not understand the accent terribly well. My ears are used to the tri-state area.
Well, I got a funny one for you. My best friend, my whole childhood. I'll name drop you, buddy. Joe Piccolo. That's my best friend from high school and beyond.
Oh,
Joe Piccolo. And he's got that accent. A little more strong than I or you, but that, Brooklyn almost. But this man gets, he went to school in Virginia. He gets married in Virginia. He moves to Virginia. I call this guy on his birthday. What's up, man? I'm like, what happened? It's a completely different voice. It's actually hilarious. It's incredible.
You take on whatever you're associated with because everybody's talking like that down there.
Right. It was I died laughing. I'm just like, who are you? What happened?
Yeah.
It's easy.
That's too funny. Well, a lot of people do that. I had a friend that moved out to L.A. and then moved back. And, in L.A., everything was slow and kind of not valley girlish. I don't think that happens much anymore. But the tone and the I'm like, are you awake? Are you asleep? I mean, talk to me. What happened? You're from Jersey. I could understand you then. And now I'm just, what's going on?
You're saying hecka now? Hecka good.
Too funny. People kind of get used to their environment and then just adapt and get absorbed by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which could be good or bad.
We got some people who moved from South Carolina to Florida. They said they get called out every day. South Carolina's got a beautiful voice,
Yeah.
Anyone who talks to me in South Carolina just is automatically my best friend.
Yeah, they're fine. They're cool. A lot of people from the South are cool.
You walk into an elevator, you walk out best friends with a total stranger.
And you can talk to people. You're walking on the street. I used to play golf in Carolinas, and my buddies and I would go down there, and my friends are crazy. Not that I wasn't a little crazy, but we would go down there and play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and come back. And we'd rent a little condo. There are businesses that do this. We call up a place. They say, oh, yeah, we've got you at this course, this course, this course, this course. Here's the condo. Got a hot tub. You have a pool. It's just someone's condo. They're just renting out, and it's great. So I'll go down there once with my friend Rob, and he's a character. We get up in the morning. He comes out of his room. I come out of my room. He goes down in the lobby, and I see him talking to these kids, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, I'm going to kill him. I know he's doing something. These kids come running over to me with pen and paper. They wanted an autograph of the newest player for the Yankees. I'm like, oh, this course was years ago when I was young. What am I going to do? I'm like, all right, I scribbled like, hey, thanks, stay in school, do really well, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to kill him. But he would always do that stuff to me.
Those are the good old days.
Yeah.
Now the pranks are a little aggressive.
Yeah. They were funny good old days. We used to love playing down there, but back in the day in the 90s and 2000s, the food there was not really good at all. It was this calabash seafood. I don't know if anybody's been down there or played, but back then, like every corner, it was fried seafood. Everywhere. You'd have to either go to a Stuckey's or one of those places that was a breakfast place to get like eggs or regular food. But fried seafood was just...
I'm good just with the galamad. Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're brought up on that, but it was just, everything was fried seafood. I'm like, can I get like a non-fried food, or can I get a steak, or can I get something? It was just weird because you come back and your skin's breaking out, and it's too much.
It's an adjustment. Oh, we got some people from there. They said, "Oh yeah, fried fish." That's
That's it, right?
Oh, that's so funny.
I'll go along with anything. Another time, another guy we went with. We had 3 or 4 foursomes, played golf, and we're in big city, Charleston maybe, and
great golf out there.
I was wearing all black. We went out to dinner, and a beautiful town. And I'm just leaning up against this brick wall, waiting for my friends to get out of the car, walk across the street. I have my foot up against the brick wall, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like 5 feet from the door about, we're going to go into the restaurant. So I'm like leaning up against the wall. And this group of girls comes walking over to me, and they hand me their driver's license. I'm like, why are they handing me their driver's license? They thought I worked in the restaurant. It was a bar as well.
You're a bouncer?
They thought I was a bouncer, and they wanted me to I'm like, all right, I'll go along with it.
Oh, let's go.
So I did. I'm like, what's your grandmother's maiden name? And I just asked them stupid questions. They answered it. I'm like, all right, they look like they're old enough, and they're old enough on their driver's license. So I let them in. And then a guy comes out from the bar restaurant, and he's like cleaning up the area, fixing stuff up. He looks over, he goes, hey, thanks, buddy. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, our bouncer, he called in sick. So thanks for doing this for us. I'm like, yeah, anytime. So I did that.
You should have got like a free dessert for that.
Yeah. Well, we ate there too. It was good food. And then when we left and we walked over to another place, similarly, I was near an open window, and my friend, who's a prankster, we're standing around, and he goes to the girls sitting in the window because it was open. There was like a bunch of girls and guys at a table. They said, hey, do you recognize him? Pointing to me. And they're like, no. He says, you don't watch Days of Our Lives? And they're like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. He made them think that I was a soap opera star on Days of Our Lives, or one of those shows. And they were like, oh, can we have your autograph? I'm like, oh, not again. So, and they said, what was your famous line? And I couldn't think of anything. I said, he's dead, Jim. Like on Star Trek,
right.
Like McCoy or Spock. So I said that. They went crazy. And all of a sudden they're telling their friends. Oh, it was fun.
I'm sure the next day they're like, hey, I don't think that was...
I don't think it really mattered to them. They, they had a couple of drinks, and they just thought that was, they probably told their friends, and they didn't take pictures, so I think I was safe.
I'm loving this.
I have a lot of crazy friends.
We have a medical question that just came in.
Oh, medical question.
From our YouTubers. What are the negative side effects of chelation therapy, and why hasn't the FDA approved it?
So chelation therapy is an approved treatment. For some reason, people think it's not. It's approved for lead, heavy metal toxicity. It's approved for Berger's disease, which is an inflammatory vascular disease of the legs. It's approved for digitalis toxicity, too much digitalis, that drug, it binds it, pulls it out. So it is FDA approved. Anything that's FDA approved can be used for other reasons. Just like a blood pressure pill can be used to shrink your prostate, there are circumstances there. A prostate pill can protect your hair because it blocks DHT, so that's that. Calcium EDTA is the best chelating agent because it has great ability to bind metals and pull them out. Now, traditional medicine doesn't like calcium EDTA or chelating agents because earlier on, doctors were talking about it removing plaque from your blood vessels. In some people, that did happen. In some people, it didn't happen. So I think the more important mechanism with the calcium EDTA chelation procedure is that it binds to metals, pulls them out of your body into the urine, and you can scientifically, now I don't know if everybody does this, I've always done this, you test a person's blood for metals and see what's free-floating, which came in recently. Then you can test the urine looking at 21 metals, the blood looks at 4 or 5 metals. So you're seeing in the urine what's leaking out of storage, so it's a better picture, and it's 21 metals as opposed to 4. If you do an IV with the calcium EDTA and a urine afterwards, you're seeing what's pulled out from that treatment, and you'll see more come out. If you use 10 of those treatments, and at the 10th treatment you repeat the urine, you have your first urine and the 10th IV urine, you can compare them and see how much you've pulled out and how much less is coming out into the urine after the IV. So you're proving that it's removing these things. So there's the science, the fact of it. It's just been vilified for many years by a very big pharmaceutical and medical realm that doesn't want it to exist, which you can see in all sorts of other things. There are doctors who do chelation worldwide, and patients get great results with it. There was a trial to assess chelation therapy, TACT, T-A-C-T, and this was set up about 10 years ago. Dr. Gervasio Lamas in Florida, in Miami, was one of the doctors who headed it up. And the results were published after a bunch of treatments. And it showed that people had very significant improvement in their walking ability, cramping in their legs went away. They had a lot of great vascular benefit. The people that they put into the program, which I think was sort of meant to make it fail, because other doctors that were creating this said, oh, it has to be a person who's had every cardiac test. They have to have plaque all over the place. They have to have all. You're picking the worst of the worst persons with the most amount of plaque. And not everybody does an angiogram. Not everybody does a MUGA scan. Not everybody does all this other stuff. And it was hard to get people to fit into the program. If you want to see whether it removes plaque or helps your blood vessels, it shouldn't be that you have to pick the worst of the worst patients. You know, even some people that are never going to get benefit because they have multi-system problems. So even that, when the studies were published, they showed people had significant vascular benefit. So it's very worthwhile. Now, if you look at things the way I do, and you look at heavy metals and they're linked to cancer, they're linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS, arrhythmias, all these horrible things, which there's tons of research on this, you want to get the metals out of your body. All they're doing is causing damage. You don't want aluminum, lead, mercury, nickel, cadmium, you don't want any of that. We can go a step further and say cadmium causes breast cancer. We know that. Aluminum causes Alzheimer's. We know that. Literature shows that. We could also say that gadolinium can affect your brain and neurologic system. And interestingly, Chuck Norris's wife was one of the first people that was diagnosed with gadolinium-induced toxicity, a real thing. Look it up. And you can pull these things out of your body. So that's why we talk to people about it. We test the blood and the urine to see what a person's dealing with.
Oh, we got this question just asking, can heavy metals affect your mood?
Absolutely. Heavy metals are 2 and 3 plus charge, just like your minerals, calcium, magnesium, potassium, etc. So if your receptors are hit with the metals and the minerals can't get there, you're going to have changes in your cells, which will lead to cell damage, degeneration, and apoptosis, which is cell death. So if your neurotransmitters are not being made, or if your vitamin levels are low, or the cells that make your hormones or neurotransmitters are damaged, then yeah, you could have effect anywhere in your body, in any organ, any tissue.
That's wild. All good on questions.
So it's important to understand that you have to look at things beyond what the basic blood test does, because you learn a great deal more about your body, and you can fix a lot of other things.
Someone said, I bet I still have metals in my system from the crappy water fountain from elementary school. It doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen people that have had such a bad heavy metal burden, and I tell people it's a lifetime of exposure. If you lived in a home that had lead pipes, if there were no filtration, and you're getting water from whatever county, town, or whatever, the number of people I've told to test in the last 39 years, test their home water, that have all this stuff in it is unbelievable. It's staggering. You don't have to be someone working with aluminum, like the guys who cut the aluminum studs to put up sheetrock and screw them in and all those things where you're breathing in aluminum dust. You don't have to be a person working in a foundry. You don't have to be a person working in a cosmetics factory, breathing in the lead, mercury, and cadmium in the powder for the cosmetics. You don't have to be a person who works, these are real stories, with his uncle when he was a kid spraying the pesticides to kill, the termites and such, and that person ends up with Parkinson's and MS in the same patient. So this is traceable. This is information that's real. So the more that you're exposed to over time, the poorer your body function, the worse you do.
It's crazy. When can I come in, Doc? Guys.
Anytime.
Website.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Website right here.
Website, drcalapai.com. Garden City office, 516-794-0404. Thank you for the emails. So much to talk about. Other parts of the perspective that people don't necessarily understand until we chat and such. Every person I've seen, I've done the same approach on for 39 years. And whether I worked in one office or another, I started in Queens. I worked in Forest Hills for a little while. My office in Garden City, East Meadow, I started in 1988, December of 88. But I was working in other offices in Valley Stream, Ridgewood. Before that, when I got out of my internship and residency in 86, the number of patients I've seen is pretty staggering over 39 years. So we were looking at how to calculate that, before we had the big computer mechanism. And before I switched over to Garden City, we had close to 30,000 patients that we'd seen over the many years up into in East Meadow. Then from there, we've been there from 2015, another 10 years. And remember, when I was on the radio for 35 years, we would see more patients per year and week than almost any doctor, because we were seeing 100 patients a week between two offices because they heard the radio show and people were, clamoring to get in. With the other office, my city office on 53rd between 5th and Madison, I think I was there for 12 or 13 or 14 years, same sort of thing. We had huge numbers of patients. So in calculating, we're trying to figure out that I'm in and around maybe a little bit over 50,000.
That's crazy.
But, it's teaching people how the body works, how to test, how to look, how to fix, how to fine-tune, how to adjust. This whole process I've done for so many years on so many patients of every background, every walk of life, every nationality, every diet type, every bad vice, good vice, all sorts of things, every age. So it gives you sort of a great experience and knowledge base upon what goes on with people when they have this or that show up in their tests. So it's a great way to understand how to fix your body in the most thorough way and to fine-tune it. But that's what we need to do.
Someone said, I wish every doctor was like you, Dr. Chris.
Well, there's not much of a reason to be the different doctor or the maverick or the blah, 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 because a lot of doctors that join hospitals to do all that and get new patients and have all the other doctors they refer to back and forth. You can't do these things because they'll have a problem with that. They don't like it. You know, the hospital may not like it. Drug companies may not like it. It is what it is, but I owe my patients. I don't owe anything to anybody else. I owe them the information and the knowledge and showing them how to do research and gather info. It's all about, great knowledge.
Oh, someone's
My
saying
entire goal is to make you healthier going forward than you are now or than you've been before, and give you that push to do better, eat right, take your vitamins, better vitamin combinations, the vitamin pack, exercise, better, 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 better. That's what we want.
Someone said, I don't know any other doctors who gave us a detailed description of the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that.
That's still heartbreaking. It's still, every time I see it, and it's everywhere, it's just that mixed emotion of anger, distrust of the powers that be, and the political nightmare as to a group that don't want someone that good, that religious, that open, that welcoming, that powerful with a following to interfere with the game they're playing. And people, doesn't matter what side of the road you're on, the game that was USAID. And they were taking tons and tons of our money and putting it all over the place to these ridiculous things. But people can't be that stupid and think that they're sending money to Afghanistan for a Sesame Street thing. It's all going back and, put into bank accounts for the politicians that want to raise your taxes because they're taking that money. It's as simple as that. They want to shut down because they want to fund what they want to fund and get that money. There's no doubt about it. And you're going to hear more and more about, I just saw something this morning about the prior president and how he interfered in the Ukraine thing. There's a video of him saying that if you don't, get rid of that prosecutor, you won't get the $2 billion or whatever. I mean, It's just criminal. But, and people that are actually doing good things are not getting credit, for it. And if you're talking about 8 months or 9 months worth of Trump being in office and 8 wars that are being changed and prevented, I mean, what more do you want? And no one wants to give him credit because they just don't like him because he's taken away the money grab. They're told not to like him. I don't want to get too much one side or the other, but, learn and read, people. Look and see what's going on. Look and see what's been done to us behind the scenes. We shouldn't be paying crazy taxes. We shouldn't on everything that we do. On our income, on what we buy, and just taxed out the wazoo. It's crazy.
It's heinous. Someone said
that's
they're all
change.
Criminals. Yeah.
So thank God. Alrighty, the Garden City phone number is 516-794-0404. The website, drcalapai.com. We'd love to hear from you, see you, give us a call. We'd love to do telehealth for you if you like that. And also our friends at Moolah Farm.
Yes.
Go to their website at Moolah Farm, MOOLA Farm, or www.moolahfarm.org. Call them, say hello. Tell them I told you to call and send them a message. They're really nice people. Great family. And I think it's a great thing to have really healthy food.
And we may do an episode with them and the Amish.
Absolutely. We're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we're going to have to do that.
And maybe, a winery.
Yep, winery's good. Anthony's ready. He's always ready for that. I spoke to him the other day. He's a great guy. I need to get some more of the Petit Verdot, the nice, strong red wine that he has. But I have to hide it because my family comes over and they take everything that I have. Sorry, family. You do that.